All right, hey everyone, it's me, Buster Green, and we are looking at a pretty dark week in the Mayagate controversy this week, as well as Tokusatsu in general. Now, I have a burning hot scoop this week about Mayagate that clarifies a lot of the mysteries I was wondering about last week. I'm kind of surprised we figured them out so fast. Now, that being the big setup, before I get into all that, I'm going to cover some light Kamen Rider news to start with, because Kamen Rider was pretty good this week, and I want to talk about this fun Kamen Rider episode before we dive into the deep and dark mysteries of Gojuger. So even before that, I'll touch on Gavon, because Gavon's still coming soon. We've got like 2 weeks until Gavon. Now, quickly touching on Gavon, nothing big came out, but we did find out that the emo gears, the little weird batteries that the Gavons are collecting, have little butt windows, and this is getting some definite mixed reactions online, because this is your kind of typical Reiwa-era potty humor for first graders. And the original Gavon, the one that I liked, was a manly show about a manly man who punched alien drug dealers. And I don't know, that original Gavon show was just kind of too good for little butt windows like that. Now, otherwise, with Gavon Infinity getting closer and closer, a couple of toy commercials are airing in Japan already, plugging the guns, plugging the robots, and it looks like a fun time for all. And oh yeah, on another note, there was another big announcement this week in Kamen Rider General that this is the 20th anniversary of Kamen Rider Kabuto, and so they announced a random Agito follow-up movie, which means nothing to me because I never watched Agito, but it does potentially set the stage for a series of really cool mid-budget Kamen Rider follow-up movies if it does well, which I kind of hardcore want. Like, I really would like to see what's like been happening like W and Decade and like O's. That was kind of like the last time I was really active in the community. I'd even sell for like a Forze movie, even though I'm not sure like what else needs to be said with Forze. Anyway, okay, so yeah, let's get into Zetss this week. Zetss this week was super fun. So yeah, quickly going over Kamen Rider Zetss episode 20. Everyone knows Dragon Quest, right? Dragon Quest is like so well known in Japan that like everyone loves it, obviously. I even went to Japan and went to Dragon Quest Island this summer. Anyway, so the focus of this episode today was a massive love letter to the classic Nintendo RPG Dragon Quest, and we got our seemingly long-needed jokey ep of Zetss where Seven and Nem just formed up a classic RPG party with two random kids, and the kids were the monk and the wizard, and Nem was the classic Dragon Quest hero, and Seven got to be the ridiculous aloof villager number A. Now, despite the rock-solid premise of Kamen Rider this week, then Kamen Rider went off on his own to fight a pretty jokey enemy that seemingly never died, and that's kind of the mystery of the episode. Can the enemy clone itself, or is there just like 100 of them? It was played as kind of like a joke, but now I'm really wondering what the enemy's secret is. Meanwhile, while the A-plot was a joke, the rest of the episode was deadly serious. The B-plot was Agent 6 appearing on the scene and trying to kill Nox Rider, but out of nowhere, another Kamen Rider showed up and basically kicked Nox's ass. Like, I guess Code is just sick of his shit. They confiscated his big orange plastic sword and they stuck it in a rock. I thought Agent 6 was going to hench in this episode, but no, we got this surprising new Kamen Rider. Now, I thought at first this guy was going to be Agent 3 transformed, but I don't think that seems to be the case because he has a super violent, kind of super loud personality, so I think it's a different character. He's got like a different personality. That's my read on it. Buzz online is that he might be Agent number 5. I don't know. All right, now let's get into it on Gojuger, because this week was a truly crazy episode. And then, yeah, afterwards, we got to have a long talk about Mayagate today. So, yeah, this week on Gojuger was kind of a crazy episode. It's 48. It's the second to last episode in the series. And, yeah, probably definitely the craziest one, with random multiple cataclysm forces showing up, Fire Candle achieving his random final form, while the Gojugers all sort of died easily out of nowhere. Except for Mashiro and Hoeru. Mashiro went completely nuts in this episode and somehow achieved godhood. And then with the help of Barakuma, he fixed everything that had been broken recently, because the villains just kind of broke the world like really fast. And then he proceeded to pile driver the god of death and punch him into the core of the earth, killing them both. leaving Hoero completely alone to have a complete emotional breakdown, as the structure of the show ironically continued to play out as always, but in an almost satirical farce when everyone is suddenly dead, that Hoero is declared the winner as he's the last one standing. Because as with the Highlander, there can be only one. The show turned ridiculously dark at the last minute out of nowhere, and I kind of liked it, but I don't think it earned it. It felt like they turned on a dime, and it didn't really feel like they built up to that dramatic of an ending that way. So anyway, that was pretty nuts. Anyway, now that Hoero has all the rings, he gets to make a wish, and I assume he's obviously going to wish everyone back to life and restore the status quo. Now, that was episode 48. It looks like episode 49 is going to be our last episode, and not episode 50, because there's just that one episode that we're, of course, never going to see buried in the vaults somewhere. Okay, Mayagate time.
この番組はヨランのスポンサーの提供でお送りします。
We've got a lot of Maya topics to discuss this week. As we're about to reach the last episode of Gojuger, we somehow have 4 freaking stories coming out of the woodwork, and the last one is such a scoop, such an insane twist, that it blew everything out of the water. So let's just go over these in drama order yet again, because that's the way I like to do it. Starting off, as usual, with a weird censored product, they announced a new line of Gojuger memory cards. If I'm understanding how these work correctly, I think they plug into the replica Tegasword prop, and they all have little voice lines and little background musics that they make the prop play. But of course, Sumino's isn't right because it's Kohaku now, and Sumino's insert song, The Yuna Sisters, has been wholeheartedly deleted. So instead, it now plays the ending theme. Okay, I do kind of love the ending theme, I guess, so that's ironic in a way that Kohaku is like ending it all. Now, next up, with Gojuger ending this week, the cast also started doing like a bunch of behind-the-scenes interviews. And these behind-the-scenes interviews were obviously filmed quite a long time ago. Now, if you pay attention to these interviews, they lack any kind of Sumino. There's no Maya, there's no Kohaku, and people are speculating online that obviously Maya was there. They're just not bothering to replace her with Kohaku. So they probably cropped her out of the frame with your typical like resize editing, and then it was later confirmed from old social media posts that Maya was definitely invited to this, so you can infer that Maya should be here, she just isn't. Now then, continuing along the load, they released the first trailer for Gojuger vs. Gojuger, and more disappointment arose yet again with the final realization that for the final piece of media released for Gojuger, once again Kohaku is cheaply After Effects into the movie, leading to this realization yet again that Maya had filmed this entire goddamn movie. But nope, she's gone, so that's another product that's probably going to have a janked up storyline because they just ripped out Maya and digitally asserted Kohaku. Anyway, so yeah, next week is the last episode of Gojuger, and Gojuger is ending on episode 49, not 50, because they're missing an episode. Now, let's talk again about this week's episode 48. And episode 47, I guess, because episode 47 was weird because it really only had like a single 3-second cut of Kohaku, otherwise putting Sumino off in her own world again as usual. And then in episode 48, Sumino only appeared for a minute in suit with no dialogue, and then the monster announced coldly that no one even noticed that she's been dead for a while, huh? Now, this kind of led the Japanese public to get really, really saucy and sarcastic about it, because I think they did notice, actually. It seemed like a lot of people noticed that this was technically the death of the original Sumino written into the show, I guess. And that seems to be true, as we have even more shocking breaking news that the episode was probably rewritten that way on purpose even. So, last week when I was going over episode 47, we had this like weird full circle moment on the Mayagate controversy, and I wondered out loud what had truly gone down and whether or not the full Gojuger Maya cut actually existed or not. And I wondered if we would ever get an answer, but ironically, we got an answer right away. I now know for a fact that the Maya cut of Gojuger would have consisted of episodes number 1 through 46, including the upcoming Gojuger vs. Gojuger movie. These were all completed in a version including Maya. But that's it. Now, I didn't expect this to get clarified so fast, but we now have an answer because, unfortunately, yesterday, huge news broke. We got final confirmation of what exactly went down in a crazy huge scoop from this channel called Super Sentai Locations. Now, this is from a guy in Japan who apparently obtained some semi-illegal behind-the-scenes footage. I want to say he either got it with a drone or a telescope camera. And the leak here is that he has unwittingly captured what seems to be the last moments, the final scenes Maya Imamori filmed on the set of Gojuger. Confirmation now is that she was on set for the filming of episode 47 with these behind-the-scenes photos dated as late as November 7th, 2025. Literally the last possible day she could have been working the job, she was working the job. Diligently filming scenes for episode 47 until the day before the Mayagate controversy dropped, the morning of November 28th, 2025. So what seems to have happened here, what we can put together here is that it seems like Maya was on set down to the last second filming scenes for episode 47, and then they just yoinked her out of the set. The big scoop here is that she was basically publicly fired and then ripped off the set the same day. Maybe they told her first thing in the morning not to come to set, but we now have this photo evidence that she was there the day before. That's the news. She was fired on the spot in the middle of filming episode 47. Because it seems like the cast and crew had confidence that the powers in charge would make the right choices here and not fold to some frickin' propaganda, paparazzi bullshit. But yeah, everyone thought Sumino was going to make it to the end of the show, and she almost did. The painful part here is that she really was so close to the end. There were only 3 weeks left in filming. The show was locked down, almost over, dead to rights. Multiple cast members had already wrapped. I really, really have to wonder if the tabloids had been just a little less vicious, if the scandal had evolved just a little more slowly. Could Gojuger have come out fully unbastardized? Because she was only 3 weeks away from finishing it. 3 goddamn weeks, 21 days. It seems that the production of episode 47 also was some absolute hell for the cast and crew, and that might be why episode 47 and 48 don't really flow into each other right, because it seems like they had to heavily reshoot 47 after Maya was removed, since they were still technically in the middle of the goddamn shooting when she was literally yoinked off the set. And it's all so fucking cruel. Now, after this, the fan base freaked the fuck out. We spent Sunday going over the timeline together, putting together this final chain of events, including this new information. So now we know exactly what happened and how much chaos Mayagate caused episode 47 and 48. The reason why episode 47 and 48 have no Maya in them, because that's it. She's gone. Maya was literally fired on the spot while they were filming 47. And it was a complete shit show that just flipped over everything. So whatever happened after that was a knee-jerk reaction to the situation and the general confusion with everyone about how to deal with it. It led to the cast and crew scrambling. It led to people doing overtime. It led to reshoots. It led to them changing the story on the fly. And most importantly, it led to the last second removal of Maya in episode 47 and 48. So after this leak, we once again have to look at all these broken pieces, all these broken fragments, and try to make sense of what went down here before it all went wrong and it all went broken. So the final mystery is what's going to happen in the last episode of Gojuger, and how much or how little will Kohaku Shida participate in the episode now that we know that 47 and 48 were made in a haze to just try to get Maya out of there. Gojuger will unfortunately not have Goju episodes, and it seems that Maya's humiliation and the reckless destruction that it all caused is truly laid bare here. Lastly, this is fucking stupid, but there's also a fake AI photo going around of Sumino drinking a cup of beer. That's old, that's fake, but it's going viral again with the story about how she was fired and people thinking about it. It's fake because it's an American beer cup and not a more discreet Japanese beer cup. Don't worry about it. It's just part of the troll campaign, the anti-Maya camp, who are still pretty hot-blooded about the whole situation and who literally blame Maya for ruining the show. But Gojuger's going off the air next week, so maybe Mayagate will finally end then, and maybe we can all put this behind us, and the Maya Imamori derangement syndrome will finally come to a stop. Or maybe it will keep growing because some people will never be satisfied. With next week's Gojuger, a half century of Super Sentai will finally come to a close, and it will come to a close plagued and riddled with scandal and drama and sex crimes, and an unsupportive Power Ranger franchise that didn't give a damn and is starting their own reboot. And with a distorted heroine thrown to the wind, it's crazy that the show almost seems self-aware of it all. Gojuger taking a last-second dark turn, with every character dying except the main character. Now, I'm sure it will overall end happy because it's a stupid kid show, but no matter how the show ends, the reality here is that it really ended in episode 47 when Maya was ripped off that set and Mayagate started. In many people's view, Gojuger ended the second Maya stopped showing up on the show because that's Mayagate. Gojuger's end will close many doors in the world, in the Super Sentai franchise, and Toku in general, but I continue to wait and wonder what the final fate of Maya Imamori will be. If she really can get back up, if she really can get back to work, and if she can finally write her own ending for her own story. All right, that's what I have to say this week. It's almost fucking over. Join me next week for the final episode of Gojuger. Episode 49, not 50, which is insulting.